The history of some of this methodology, like Epic and Aura, has been highly validated way before we took it into the field of AI or, this development where we are at the moment. In other words, thinking 5.0. The Epic design of fundamentally experiential, playful, iterative, collaborative that forms the basis of everything we do in terms of design was first brought out as activities and games for real world in-person workshops in early 2012 and has been validated on many thousands of people. The Aura process was around about the same time, the cycle of change. So I'm going to show you how it plays out in reality on the platform. But the Aura process is the transformational cycle. Observe, reflect, action. So observe, raise the awareness of. So it's the process of how we get the cognitive restructuring, the cognitive change, how we build new neural pathways, and one by one. And the observe and the reflect make meaning and the connection, and then the action, change the thought, rewire, move on. 3 is a sort of trailblazing experiences, and that is 5 to 30 days structured experiences, mind nudging, and the whole premise of it is on the go and it's real world application. And then the Agora, which is a system that allows the people to identify and solve complex problems on the go. It doesn't matter where we start on Thinking 5.0. We can start with trailblazing, mind nudging trails, where every day we get a nudge for the length of the trail that we're on. And in this case, you can see it's a 5-day trail. There are 5 themes, or 5. The growth mindset for leaders would have been broken down to 5 themes, and they're delivered daily through Aura, observe, reflect, action, through nudging. If we just move on from there, what we can see in real time is this is in the morning, we get a nudge to raise our awareness, of which we can either play it, because remember it's on the go, or we can read it. It just depends on your preferences. But along the way, we have Socrates here, the AI, Socrates Socratic Dialogue, or AI guide, if you like, so Socratic AI guide, which can nudge us to think deeper. So we might be thinking about this and observing it, and we want to go deeper. So we just keep getting nudged as and when we want it. If we don't want to be nudged, we don't have to. But what this awareness does is it gives you a theme, and then it allows you to prime your mind throughout the day so that you can raise your awareness about this particular concept, idea, whatever it may be, thought, frame of mind. And then that primes the mind as you're going about your day. The important thing is it's very flexible in terms of press audio, play it. In the afternoon, what we end up getting there is a reflection back, where we basically talk into a journal, or we can type into a journal, which allows us to feed to the AI what we found, and then it starts to personalize the learning and give you the right sort of themes over time. So it can both be, trails can be designed to effectively, they're designed to systematically lay out new neural pathways, if that makes sense. The important thing for both development and guardrailing, both, is how we make decisions in a world that is overwhelmed by this crisis and this information that may or may not be true, and so forth. So the Agora is all about solving complex problems, real world problems. So rather than work on simulation, what we're doing, and again, we can do this first and then the mind nudging, you can do the mind nudging first and then this, it doesn't actually matter. So we're learning and changing in real time. What the AI is able to do is support the whole process through, but also be able to pick up the data and guide us. Now, notice what we're doing here is, with Thinking 5.0, is all about the human, developing the human thinking. So whilst it's guided by AI, the AI does not give you the answer. So that's the fundamental difference. If you go on GPT, or I actually use Claude, but whichever one you use, and go on and put in give me the answer to this, or give me a document on this, I might put some documents in there and upload them for context, which you can do here. The difference is Socratic Dialogue is only getting you to think deeply about solving this problem. So it's guiding and helping, but it absolutely will not give you the answer, because we want the human to work in partnership with the AI and not outsource the thinking to the AI. So we solve problems together. That's thinking 5.0. So you can, in practical terms, you can upload the thinking. Can't get away from thinking. Upload some context documents if you want. The AI gets to understand the context, and Socrates will start guiding you if you get stuck. The important thing here in the Agora is it's all defined as 7 steps where different thinking goes on in these sections. Now, I will say on a very practical level, you can put your own model in if you wanted to. We can integrate that for you. It's not a major problem. We use a pretty standard one, because what's important is how the whole thing pulls together and learns. So we define the problem. So everybody collectively defines the problem, and you don't move on before you just define the problem. I think it was Einstein that said, if I had 60 minutes to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes defining the problem, 5 minutes solving it. I paraphrase on good old Einstein there, but he was clever, wasn't he? And that's true. Most of the problems we're solving, especially when complex, may not get to the root of the problem. So we may waste so much time and resources and money on solving problems that were not the problem in the first place. So defining and analysing is extremely important before we move on to generate and come up with a whizzy eye, the fun part, the ideas, divergent thinking, creative thinking, and so forth. And then the evaluation, then the planning, then the monitoring, and then the reflection. So what happened to this? And then it goes into a vault in here and pretty much acts as an innovation center, really. But the important thing is that the AI can work with the human to, the AI taking the data and making sense of the patterns, what worked, what didn't work, and not having to keep repeat problems, and making decision making much more confident, but not outsourcing the decision making to AI, which is dangerous, especially if 50% of it is not giving us factual information or truth. Through this process, what's happening as like assembly, as a collaborative, we're contributing, and then we're building on each other's ideas. Now, how that does that, I'm not going into that right now because we'll be out of time. But effectively, how it votes through is a gamification called penny for your thoughts. So what we do is, penny for your thoughts is a phrase that goes back to the 15th century, where we put the value on someone's thoughts. But penny for your thoughts is like being able to put a value on someone's contribution so you can vote and start to get the whole process working through. So the way we think in these 7 steps, every single one is different. This is analytical thinking. This is, I'm generalizing here, don't take me literally, but it engages our analytical thinking. This engages our imagination and so forth, our reasoning. The higher order thinking that's been used through here is different in each section. And often the way we get constructive thinking is to systemize the whole process. Now, it's not to say we can't do this, but it's very hard to measure and keep improving if we don't engage the AI to help us develop our own higher order thinking skills, our own emotional intelligence, our own reasoning, etc. Where the AI is very beneficial is being able to take everything we're doing and then work out what we need. So I might be really good at analytical thinking. I'm not, just so you know, but I am quite good at creative thinking. But what it's doing is giving the right nudges and the right personalization through this thinking 5.0 journey, because it's able to do that. It's able to analyze the data. We're still going through beta in thinking 5.0 in the studio. However, we've come quite far in the last few months with the testing, certainly on the mind nudging side, certainly going live with the Mind Architect Trailblazing Experience on the 5th of January, where we reimagine leadership for Thinking 5.0. I personally am in Mauritius. That's going to be amazing. Mental Guardrailing is a trailblazing experience, developing and laying these neural pathways for the 6 mental guardrails that we talked about today. And that's on the 5th of January. You can join the waiting list there. If you go on the website, you can find it. Just look under Trailblazing Experiences. That is thinking50.studio, or just DM us here. Unstoppable, another trailblazing, is more like imposter syndrome, more confidence building and so forth. And then Thinking 5.0 Practitioners Certificate, where facilitators learn the Thinking 5.0 to deliver it, is on the 2nd of February.